At one of America's most prestigious universities, tensions ran high in Dr. Linda Markham's advanced calculus class. Known both for her brilliant mathematical insights and her increasingly obvious political agenda, Dr. Markham had built a reputation for challenging her students, not always fairly. On this crisp autumn morning, as students filtered into a large lecture hall adorned with modern technology and classical academic decor, the board behind her bore a provocative message, redefining academic priorities. Among the students was a tall, quietly confident young man dressed in a perfectly pressed black suit, Barron Trump. Although he rarely mingled with his classmates, his reputation as a certified prodigy with a 170 IQ preceded him. Many knew little about him beyond his flawless test scores and the whispered rumors of his mathematical prowess. Today, however, fate had arranged a moment that would soon change the classroom dynamic forever. Dr. Markham strode into the lecture hall with a blend of authority and condescension. "Mathematics," she declared, "while undeniably important, must now make room for more pressing social discussions. It is time we acknowledge that academic success is intertwined with real-world issues like privilege and representation." A murmur of unease rippled through the room as she shifted her focus away from complex equations toward PowerPoint slides filled with statistics on gender representation in STEM fields. She even hinted that many students might be benefiting from unearned advantages. As the lecture continued, Barron's hand slowly rose. The professor, irritated by the interruption, shot him a piercing look. "Yes, Mr. Trump, do you have something to contribute?" she asked, her tone laced with both irritation and amused disbelief. Barron's composed expression never wavered. In a measured, respectful tone, he began, "Professor, I believe that calculus is the backbone of both theoretical and applied sciences. Many of us chose this advanced course to deepen our mathematical knowledge. Would reducing our core curriculum not disadvantage every student, regardless of background?" His words resonated with a few nods from his peers, yet the professor's smirk deepened. Dr. Markham, unwilling to let her authority be challenged, continued, "Perhaps you, Mr. Trump, would benefit most from understanding how privilege shapes our educational system. Not everyone, after all, has had the luxury of private tutors or elite prep schools." Her remark hung in the air as the class exchanged uneasy glances. Sensing an opportunity to assert her power, she clicked to a new slide, a daunting multivariable calculus problem involving complex integration and series expansion, a problem far beyond the current curriculum. "Since you are so concerned with maintaining academic standards," she said with a sneer, "why don't you solve this on the board, Mr. Trump? Or would you rather discuss your privileged background?" The challenge was clear. A public humiliation meant to cement her narrative about privilege and merit. The room grew tense. Several students murmured that the problem was graduate-level material. With quiet resolve, Barron rose from his seat. "I'd be happy to try," he said, his voice calm and steady. Walking toward the whiteboard, he addressed the class. "I notice this problem has multiple possible approaches. Would you prefer I use the standard method or demonstrate a more efficient solution I learned from studying Livnet's original papers?" Dr. Markham's eyes widened in disbelief at the mention of Livnet's work, a reference few expected from a student in her class. "You've read Livnet's original papers?" she asked, struggling to hide her shock. "The translations don't capture the elegance of the methodology?" Barron replied simply in German before turning his full attention back to the board. As he took the marker, the tension in the room became palpable. With practiced precision, Barron began to solve the complex problem. Step by step, he explained his process. Starting with a brief explanation of Euler's technique from 1755, he then demonstrated how to simplify what appeared to be a labyrinth of integrals into a coherent, elegant solution. His commentary was not boastful but educational, ensuring that every student could follow along. With each stroke on the whiteboard, even the most confident students leaned forward, captivated by the clarity and brilliance of his method. Halfway through his solution, Barron paused and looked toward Dr. Markham. "Professor, would you prefer the traditional method, which might take another full board, or shall I use the approach that streamlines the entire process?" His challenge was gentle, yet pointed, a subtle reminder that mathematics transcends political rhetoric and elitism. A hushed silence fell over the room. Even the dean, who had been quietly observing from the back, shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to step in. Before Dr. Markham could muster a response, a voice from the back broke through the tension. "We're here to learn math, not to be lectured on politics," said Michael Chen, a scholarship student whose quiet wisdom often went unnoticed. Encouraged by his words, several other students began expressing their support for a focus on pure mathematics. "I came here to learn calculus," another student added, echoing the sentiment that the subject itself was more important than any political narrative. The atmosphere shifted. Dr. Markham, visibly rattled by the unexpected turn of events, tried to regain control. "Mr. Trump," she said, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and resignation, "your display of mathematical prowess is impressive, but it does not excuse your ignorance of the broader context." In response, Barron simply smiled and stated, "Professor, my goal is to illustrate that true education, real learning, comes from understanding the beauty and rigor of mathematics. It is not diminished by our backgrounds or politics." At that moment, the dean stepped forward, sensing that this incident might either spiral into a PR nightmare or become a transformative teaching moment. "Perhaps," the dean suggested cautiously, "this demonstration could be the start of a new approach, one that bridges theoretical knowledge with practical applications." Dr. Markham, her face flushed with both defeat and reluctant admiration, finally said, I made a mistake. I let my personal views cloud the importance of pure mathematics." A murmur of approval and quiet applause spread through the room as students realized that the lesson went far beyond solving a calculus problem. Barron's solution had not only dismantled the professor's attempt at public humiliation, but it also sparked a broader conversation about merit and academic integrity. In the days that followed, attendance in the advanced calculus class surged. Students from various backgrounds came together, inspired by the notion that learning should be about knowledge and growth, not political ideology. Barron Trump, once a reserved presence in the background, emerged as a symbol of academic excellence and humility. Even Dr. Markham, humbled by the experience, began hosting extra study sessions to help bridge the gap between theory and application. The incident ignited a cultural shift within the department, a transformation where questions were encouraged, collaboration thrived, and learning became a unifying force rather than a battleground for political agendas. In the weeks that followed, the story of that day spread like wildfire across campus. Viral videos shared on social media captured the defining moment when a simple act of mathematical genius turned a tense classroom dispute into a transformative educational experience. The dean lauded the event as a turning point in the university's approach to teaching, one that valued genuine understanding over superficial divisions. But the impact of that day extended far beyond the classroom. Inspired by Barron's calm dignity and his willingness to stand up for pure mathematics, many students began organizing informal study groups that transcended social and economic backgrounds. These groups met regularly to explore advanced topics, share insights, and foster a community rooted in mutual respect and a love for learning. The ripple effect of that moment even reached local high schools, where educators used the incident as a case study to emphasize the importance of critical thinking and academic collaboration. Barron's quiet confidence and respectful demeanor served as a powerful reminder that true genius is not measured by arrogance or political posturing, but by the ability to inspire others to think deeply and work together. His words, "True education is about the beauty of mathematics, not our differences," resonated with students and faculty alike. In retrospect, the event became a beacon of hope, a vivid illustration that when pride and prejudice are set aside, knowledge can flourish and bring people together. As the semester wore on, Dr. Markham herself underwent a subtle transformation. No longer did she rely solely on political rhetoric to frame her lectures. She returned to the heart of mathematics, allowing the subject's inherent beauty and complexity to speak for itself. Under her revised approach, the classroom atmosphere shifted from one of division to one of inclusion and collaborative learning. Barron continued to excel and, more importantly, to mentor those around him, embodying the principle that education is not a competition but a shared journey toward understanding. Today, the legacy of that fateful day lives on in the halls of the university. Barron Trump remains a quiet force behind the scenes, always willing to help a struggling classmate or to explain a difficult concept with patience and clarity. Dr. Markham's class, once marked by rigid debates over privilege, has evolved into a model of academic integrity and mutual respect. The incident stands as a powerful testament to the idea that real education thrives when we focus on the pursuit of knowledge rather than clinging to outdated ideologies. If you enjoyed this remarkable story of academic confrontation turned inspirational lesson, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life accounts of resilience and brilliance. Let us know in the comments what you think about the power of mathematics to unite us all.